What if I told you that talent doesn't matter? And in today's world, the focus is on branding and strategy. What's going on, everybody? Miller McCoy here, CEO and founder of Limitless MFG, a branding incubator and accelerator for the 21st century celebrity, where we help them monetize through lifestyle and product-based brands. You're listening to the Closet Cast, Behind the Brand, Limitless Mind. Again, I still don't have a name made up for this one, but in today's episode, we're going to be getting into a lot of the nuts and bolts around real actionable advice to make money, grow a brand, and survive this fashion, music, entertainment industry for entrepreneurs. Getting right into it, I've got 5 to 6 kind of hard truths or lessons for fashion and music entrepreneurs. The first one that I want to kind of go over is why your brand or art isn't selling, right? And there's a handful of reasons that it could be, but very common mistakes that we see in this industry are poor storytelling, bad branding, and a lack of customer clarification or customer clarity. You don't know your target audience, right? I was listening to a clip from Jesse Itzler. If you guys know who he is, his wife is Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Jesse has started tons of brands and is a big successful entrepreneur. He now hosts a lot of like very predominant health-based centric stuff. He's got like the Running Man Festival and whatnot, but he had originally had a brand called Zico Water, and it was a coconut-based water company. They were pitching it to Coca-Cola, where they eventually did their exit to Coca-Cola, and they were talking to the president of Coca-Cola, and they had told him, in this country, in today's world, it takes 8 years to create a brand, and just for your brand to get recognized, right? And so through those 8 years, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. You're going to have pitfalls. You're going to have trials and tribulations, right? It's not something that happens quick. It's not something that is just lightning speed. And of course, you'll have the random scenarios where the people actually do end up getting mega viral and having, the flukes out there, right? But, the president was really saying that it takes a long time and you're never going to get there unless you have a focus on the product. You have to have a good product, you have to have a good strategy, and you have to have people that know about you and your brand, right? And so, and think about that, 8 years. That's a long time. That's a lot longer than just like giving it a stab for 6 months, right? Or trying this out for a couple weeks. That's really not going to net you anything. And there's a lot of people in today's fast fashion, fast commerce sort of world where they themselves have the Amazon mentality behind things, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, let me just like start this brand. Let me just start this product line, right? And they think what they're doing is creating brand, but what they're actually doing is trying to fit into a trend or a fad or something that's not actually going to stick and build longevity, right? And the people that actually end up figuring out, I'm not here to just get in, make a quick bag and exit, or get in, spend all my money, make no money, and then exit, right? The people that actually figure out, how to build a real community around their whole entire brand and their product, right? And those that actually know who their product works right and best for, and understand that starting a brand and having a product line behind your brand is creating an additional business, right? Those are the ones that are going to be able to stick it out for those 8+ years that it's going to take you to actually build this thing out. Overnight success is never really overnight, right? It always just appears to be overnight success because once somebody really has that momentum and they get that click, right? There's so much content that they consume, and it's just, and it's because they've been doing it year after year after year after year, time after time after time after time, right? To where it just like makes it seem like they blew up overnight, but nobody actually saw them when they had the 100 views or the 50 views or the 20 listens or whatever it may be, the 5 customers, right? And now that they're actually in the algorithm and everybody's talking about them and they're getting all the views, well, now everybody knows about them and it feels like they just came out of nowhere, right? So that's one of the mistakes is, getting into this thing and thinking that it's just going to be a quick, easy thing, right? It's not a layup. No, this is a marathon. right? To build a real brand that is going to be prospering and create longevity, right? It takes a long time. It takes years, years and years, and additionally, there's the poor storytelling aspect. A lot of people will create a product line that just has like cool designs, right? And like, I think I've mentioned this before on this podcast, right? That, or on some of my content at least, you can have the coolest design in the world, but if nobody sees it or nobody knows about it, no one's going to buy it, right? And vice versa, you can have the greatest product ever, and if nobody sees it, nobody buys it. You're not going to find the success there. So the talent aspect is nowadays kind of secondary to the strategy and the marketing aspect, right? There's a lot of record labels right now that don't care if you make good music. What they care about is, will you get the views? Will you get the clicks? Will you make the headlines? Are you going to get the listens? And that's what their main focus is on right now. Record labels, when they're doing a deal, with a distribution deal, publishing deal, whatever it is, they're signing you a loan, right? And so they want to get their money back and get the return on investment as soon as possible, right? And a lot of people don't realize that the advance that they get is a loan. And so if you're not marketable, if the record label's not going to be able to make their money back on you, you're never going to get that deal. And then additionally, once you do get that deal, or if you get that deal, you better bet your ass you got to be marketable. You got to put it into overtime there, right? And really try to make that money back so that way you can get out of that deal, leverage the following, leverage the money that you've made from that whole entire situation, and be able to go and run this thing on your own. It's the same thing for the brand world as well. You got to really be able to make sure that you're a marketable product, you're a marketable brand. And then additionally, you have to have a good, solid product so that way you can keep getting the returning customer base behind you, right? So you want to absorb yourself in what it is that you're making and what it is that you're doing, and try to become the best person at making that product or doing the thing, whatever it may be. And the better that you can get at that, the more you work on your branding and your marketing, the longer you stay in the game, the better off it's always going to be. If you hit a really good marketing campaign, but you sell a really crappy product and everybody purchases that product and nobody had a good experience with purchasing that product, well, you've just shot yourself in the foot, because now you're going to come with bad reviews. You're not going to get any return customer base. You're basically just wasting that potential. But if you give everybody a really good experience, that's how you're going to make these things click, right? The most expensive thing in this industry is going out and acquiring new customers, right? If you're a brand. But once you have the customer base, the cheapest thing and the easiest thing to do is to be able to resell them, right? And get them back through your door with another good product that gives them another good experience, or sell them a new colorway of your already winning or existing product, or a new variation, a V2 version of it, or whatever it may be, right? And so a lot of people don't always realize that, and they're just like, okay, well, if I can make this viral TikTok, right, and then I can off these hoodies, and I'm actually just running these hoodies on a pre-order from China, and they're going to take me 3 months to get in, and I put a little text down in the bottom of the product description that this is a pre-order, please allow 3 months, right? Like, and you're not actually reaching out to the customers, you're not actually letting them know that you haven't made it fully aware, right? You're doing yourself no favor in playing that game, right? What you really want to be able to do is find a way to shrink the time that it takes to get the product to your customers, be responsive to your customers, build an engaging community where everybody's on the same page, where everybody knows what's going on with the release, when it's happening, how they're going to get their product, what happens after they send you the money, where's that money going to go? Are you just going to go blow it and buy a car and then, 3 months later give them their product, right? Or are you going to take their money, get them their product, and then double down on the brand to make it even better and provide longevity behind it? Another thing that I want to kind of point out is the importance of niche, a niche in your industry. If your brand is for everybody, it's for nobody. And this took me a while to figure out. I've got a personal brand called Human, and I used to always say, oh, well, we're all human. The brand's for everybody, right? And that's not the case, right? And the more I was trying to push down that path, the more diluted that the waters came, or the more muddy the water got, right? And I had to learn, quicker than later, that's not the case, right? You can't be everybody's everything. You need to find your pocket, you need to find your niche, and you need to be able to deliver them the life that they're wanting to live, or you need to be able to deliver them the sound that they're wanting to hear, or the product that they're wanting to feel or use. You know, you can't be just this all-encompassing thing that works perfectly for everybody and saves everybody's day. Your marketing campaigns aren't going to have any actual sort of mobility behind them. You're not going to be able to really get to that target audience and to that target consumer that's going to continuously make those repeat purchases, tell their friends that are also in their sub niche category, and all of that sort of stuff, to where you can actually build that hype behind your brand. Otherwise you're just another Pink Floyd reference here, but you're just another fly on the wall, right? So really find your niche and stick to it. Identify your audience in that niche and focus in on that. Once you've kind of conquered that, cool, now start thinking about expanding out, right? And then expand again, and expand again, and expand again. But until you have conquered that, that should be your only focus, right? And then the tie-in with that is also the clarify your audience, right? Inside of your niche, find the 5 ideal customers, or the 5 ideal people that you want to see wearing this product, and do everything based around those 5 ideal customers or consumers, or those faces that you want to see wearing your product, living your brand, the lifestyle that you're trying to push, listening to the music that you're trying to create, right? Those 5 people, you should really cater towards that audience, right? And then from there, look at all the people that look up to those 5 people, or are in those 5 people's networks, and then, continuously build it in. So that really just ties in a lot of the stuff on the brand side, clarifying your audience, understanding your niche, and just the common mistakes that we see. Additionally, the next thing is the illusion of going viral and what actually builds a brand. Chasing virality is going to kill your long-term visions as a brand. If you're always out there trying to chase and catch the next trend, you're never actually going to build something that's sustainable, and especially something that is like solid for your niche, right? You don't need a viral moment. You need 1,000 true fans who's going to buy from you every drop, right? There's a good theory that I'd suggest anybody kind of looks into, and I think this whole book on it, but it's the art of 1,000 fans, right? You don't need to have millions and millions and millions of fans, right? Or even hundreds of thousands of fans. You really just need 1,000 true core fans that every time you launch a product, you sell a ticket, you put a song out, they're going to be there to purchase it, right? If you sell a hoodie for $50 and you got 1,000 people out there that are always going to buy that $50 hoodie every time you put it out, no matter when you put it out, you're going to be in pretty good shape, right? You're going to be able to make some pretty good money just always and kind of automatically, right? So it's really finding those 1,000 true fans and then figuring out little ways that you can multiply that, right? How can okay, I've got 1,000 true fans now. How can I turn these 1,000 true fans not only into super consumers, which they already are, but how can I also get another 1,000 of them, right? Or even another 200 of them? Because if I add another 200 of them that are always going to buy this $50 hoodie, well, sweet, there's another 10 G's that's going to come in, right? And so that's really you don't want to be chasing the trends. You don't want to be chasing the virality. You want to be building the true fans that are always going to be there for you when you need them the most, right? Additionally, you want to focus in on the community aspect. If you're building out a community and you're always pushing the new thing, the new virality thing, and it's going against your niche and it's going against the grain from what you're always focused on or what you've built that community to learn, love, and enjoy, you're going to begin having the fall off from that community. And the way you get those 1,000 true fans is by building that community where they can immerse themselves in and they can live their whole entire lifestyle based around your brand, as either a product brand or a musician or somebody that's in the entertainment world. You're a brand at the end of the day. Your name, the name of the product, whatever it is, that's the brand, and so being able to immerse this world where you can have these true community people living vicariously through your world by using your products or listening to your music or, enjoying your level of or form of entertainment, whatever it may be, that's how you're going to be able to create a very engaging community and a very loyal following. Um, and then additionally, a slow burn always wins. You know, we're not out here looking for overnight success. We're not out here looking to make X amount of dollars and then go quiet for a year and then come back again and do it again, right? Like consistency in a slow burn manner is always going to outperform, right? It's like the tortoise and the hare. Sure, you can go in sprints, but if I go consistently, actually, there's a running analogy. There's I want to say it was in like the 30s or the 40s or something like that. There was a race across where it was Australia, and they brought out all of the top runners, all the top athletes. Everybody had the newest equipment and everything like that. And it was a race from one end of Australia all the way to the other. And at the end of it, there was the winner of it was actually he was like 60 or 70-year-old man, and he was a farmer, right? And he was just a regular nobody guy from Australia, a farmer, and he was competing against the greatest athletes across all of Australia in this race. And all he did was he just slow and steadily kept the same exact pace, and it was a tremendously slow pace, but he never stopped. So when all of the extreme athletes had to take a break and sleep, when they all had to really refuel and eat a big meal and carb up and all that sort of stuff, he just kept going, right? And he didn't stop. He didn't really stop to sleep, and all he consumed, I think, was like raw milk or something like that, raw organic milk, during the race. And he stayed at one pace the whole entire time and ran all the way across all of Australia as a older man, not an athlete, right? Just a farmer, a regular guy. And he beat all these crazy athletes. And so that's, the tortoise and the hare. Sure, you can go out there and sprint, and yeah, you might hit the first checkpoint and get first place, and you might get a little prize for that, or you might get some credibility, or names might be in the news, or you might be getting the notoriety that you want to see, but that's not going to build longevity. That's not going to, you don't want to get caught up in those moments, right? If you are getting those moments, great, but learn how to turn those moments into something that's going to be able to create this longevity that we're talking about for your brand, and then the next thing is why most collaborations and partnerships go south. And I want to be careful about how I say this, because there's some that do tremendously well, and there's some of them that can absolutely tarnish a brand's name or a brand's sake, right? And so most collaborations fail because you're chasing followers or you're chasing a new customer audience and not a real value. There's a difference between clout and real value, right? Sure, if you get that Supreme collab, right, or you get that whatever insert big brand name here collaboration, that's going to feel awesome. That's going to be incredible. That's going to be awesome. But everybody's always only going to remember you for that, and it's going to be very hard for you to be able to break out of that shell. There's a lot of musicians, for an example, they'll have an opportunity to collaborate with a really big videographer or collaborate, remix their song with a big hit guy, but they're never going to be able to, once they do that, that puts them automatically into some sort of circle or some sort of pocket, and there's a roof that gets put on top of them. If you look at like Shabuzi and a bar song, right? That's been charting that's been charting at the top of the charts for like the longest time ever, and he has yet to do a remix, right? He could have gone and remixed it with Post Malone or Morgan Wallen or whoever it may be, but he hasn't done that. And, I think it's brilliant that he hasn't done that. It's not put a roof on top of him. It's not put him into a corner and shelled him off as to, okay, yeah, you're the guy that did the collab with Morgan Wallen or Post Malone or whatever you have, right? It's allowing him to really create his own lane, and it's eventually going to make him the next Morgan Wallen or him the next Post Malone or what have you, or hell, maybe even bigger, right? And it's the same thing with brands, If you come out the gate before you've really been established and before you've really been around, and you secure a really big collaboration or partnership or something like that, and you know, you focus all your time and energy on that, and you catch that dragon, right? And you let it rip for a little while, and then what's next, right? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? You got to think multiple moves ahead. And if you can't think multiple moves ahead, even after a big collaboration or a big project like that, it's going to be really hard to be able to catch that next dragon. You're never going to be able to hit the epitome of that again, right? You're always going to be chasing the next high, and odds are it's never going to be the same and never going to get you there, you know? So just really be careful there. Instead you should approach artists, brands, stores, musicians, and these partnerships in a different way, right? You shouldn't think of it as oh yeah, this thing's going to make me famous, or oh yeah, this thing's going to get me on the map or anything like that. You should be approaching them in a very strategic sort of way and making sure that it fits your community that you've been working on building. It fits that niche that you've already grown inside of that community and where you've been hammering. And then you should also try to plan out 2 or 3 more drops after that, right? Where you can ride that wave, right? And keep it going all the way up and up and up, right? So if you do that big collab here, you want to have another big thing here and another big moment here and another big moment here. And you're always going to want to keep those big moments kind of stacking on top of each other, really building this thing up to really blow up, right? And create that longevity and create that actual impact that we're always talking about, Then additionally, the next thing that is a really big impact that causes a lot of brands to fall off or fail is their budget, right? So this can be a little budgeting talk. There's a real cost to launching a brand or dropping a song or whatever it is that you do in your space. I see nowadays there's music industry executives that are always dropping these little clips that's like, oh yeah, it cost $1 million to make a hit song today, through payola and paying the blogs and paying the radio stations and, getting the viral music videos and all the clips and stuff like that costs $1 million. Now, how true is that? Sure, there's an aspect to that that's very true, but there's also an aspect to that that's, not necessarily the case. And like I was saying earlier, we don't need to be able to have that mega viral hit song, right? If you have the 1,000 true fans, you're never going to actually need to find a need or a focus to ever hit that mark. And in fact, a lot of independent artists and a lot of independent brands, they never even want to think about going that route. The second you start going that route is the second that you're really playing politics in this industry, And so thinking about it from a brand aspect, right? There's a lot more budgeting that goes into it other than just receiving your product, right? What's your game plan for, you save up all your money, you go to start your brand or to start your product line, you pay the manufacturer, you make all the product, and then what's next, right? How are you going to market this product? How are you going to get it out there to the masses? Are you going to pay? If you spend all your money, now you're just hoping on yourself with your phone, or maybe you got a little camera skills or something like that to make your own sort of content and hope that can bring in customers, right? Like, you got to start thinking about the actual longevity and how you're going to sell this product. Now, when you're first getting started, I always suggest, and if you're younger and if you've got some friend groups or, wherever you're at in your kind of life, if, let everybody know what you're doing. Right. And don't do a big talk before you're doing it. Do a big talk while you're doing it. Right. So once you've started to receive the product, right, that's where you start letting everybody know, and always wear your product, support your product, share your product with your friends, right? Get it out there. See if your friends will become your first consumers or your family or whatever it may be. Now I also kind of have a feeling on that where it's like that doesn't create longevity, but that can kind of help get the snowball started, right? And so look, if I had $1,000 that was just focused on kind of the marketing space, right? So I made my product. Maybe it cost me $5,000 or so to make all my product. I got an extra $1,000 to spend on marketing, What I would personally do is I would go find kids on TikTok, 14 to 16 years old kids, right, that understand TikTok really well. They seem to be getting kind of viral, or they make some cool content or whatever it is. And I'd offer them, I don't know, $200 a week or a month or whatever deal I could strike with them, a couple $100 to make a post about my product every day, right? And I would share that product. I would get as many of those kids as I could fit inside of my budget to get as many posts per month, right? And I would send all those kids a free product, right? I'd give them all the product that I'm releasing. So I'm taking a loss on the product there. Maybe that alone cost me $500 to send them everything. And then I got to pay them $1,000, right? And I would get these people to just start making UGC, user-generated content, a video a day or a couple a week or whatever it may be. And I'd try to figure out a way that I could do it in a mass level, right? Where I've got 5 or 6 different people that are all making these videos for me over and over and over again. And every time it's a little different video. It's an unboxing video. It's a product review. It's an outfit of the day. It's a try-on video. It's a haul, right? Or fashion tips where they're showing off my product and they're styling it, right? All of this sort of stuff. And, I would put all the kids kind of in contact with each other. They'd all be doing their own sort of videos, their own sort of editing, their own sort of styling, right? And taking their own takes on how to make the videos. And the second one of those videos pops off, I'm just going to have all the other kids look at that one video that went viral and say, hey, look, I need all of you guys to replicate this video, but do it in your own style. Now that we've got a proven model that works, right? This one video went viral, it got 1 million views on it or whatever it is. I'm going to need all of you guys to do the same, right? And that's going to do multiple things, right? It's giving us UGC. It's sharing to the consumers that UGC is what we want to see, right? So that way when other people come in and purchase the product, they're going to make their own form of UGC, right? And then additionally, if you find a similar grouping of these kids that are all kind of in this niche fashion industry or this niche music industry or whatever it is, it's going to have that trickle effect throughout that niche to where you're really going to be able to build that community because they're all kind of in cahoots with each other, right? Their followers they all have crossover followers, right? And building that community is how you're going to be able to get those, your first true loyal super fans. So that would be exactly what I would do if I only had $1,000 to spend on marketing my brand. I would take that TikTok UGC creator role. And I don't want any of these videos to be super high production value, right? There's only $1,000 and you're splitting that up in 5 ways, $200 a kid. You can't afford to do high production videos, right? Should all just be pull out the iPhone, sitting in my room, making the video, or sitting in the bathroom, whatever it is, right? I'm in my closet, right? Here it is. It should be very real, right? Very relatable. That's exactly what I'd do with $1,000. Next thing that I kind of want to touch on is why most creatives never scale and how to actually build a real business. A lot of people think I'm just an artist. I'm a musician. I'm a designer, right? No. Yes, you are those things, but at the end of the day, you're a business. You're an entity, right? So you have to think like a business. You have to operate like a business. You have to build your artistic value in creations into a business form, right? And you have to really be able to maneuver and balance the two out. And this is what a huge problem that a lot of creative thinkers and people in the creative world have is they don't know how to operate in the business functions and in the business form. So I would encourage everybody to really focus in on how can I create my art, but also create it into a way that it's a business. How can I build systems around this for fulfillment, customer service? How can I schedule this thing out and calendar this thing out so that way I'm staying consistent? I'm always doing, here's the product, here's the shoot, here's the release, here's the marketing rollout, here's the campaign, and how can I replicate that, right? There's a lot of upcoming brands and you click on their profiles or you check them out, you go to their website, you can tell they're very novice, right? But they're all getting their inspiration from successful brands or successful artists or whatever it is. And when you go over to the successful people's pages, you can clearly tell a night and day difference between their page and the startup brand's page, right? And what we call those, what we want to look for are, inspirational brand pages. right? And you should mimic what you're seeing on the inspirational brand pages to be shown on your page. So that way you can look like you're playing in the same lane, right? Sure, you might only have 30 followers and this guy's got 300,000 followers, right? But if your page can look, if the art that you're sharing on your page can at least look at some level of caliber of the inspirational page, right? You're going to eventually be able to kind of carve your own lane and add your own little twist to everything. And you're not using the same platform, you're not or the same program that they're using to create their content, right? You're doing it yourself, so it's already going to have a little bit of individuality behind it. But you want to find what is proven to already work and where you're getting your inspiration from your brand and replicate that in yours, right? You want to steal like an artist. There's a great book out there, Steal Like an Artist. If you haven't read it, go read it, right? Additionally, there's the importance of delegation and finding partners. Once you have started to grow the business of being an artist, right? It's time to begin delegating, right? Find the people that are really good at creating the content like we've done here with Polly, right? Find the people that are really good at fulfilling the product. Find the people that are really good at customer service. Find the people that are really good at design work. Find the people that are really good at the web work, right? All of that sort of stuff. As the artist, you're probably the master, you're probably the mastermind, visionary, creative behind it, but you need to learn how to delegate. If you're stuck behind a sewing machine every day and what you do to make your money is sew your product together, and you lose money every time that you're out there going out and buying fabric, because not just physically lose money because it costs money to buy the fabric, but because it takes you those 2-3 hours to go downtown, find the fabric that you need, purchase it, get it, right? Find somebody that can replace doing that for you, so that way you can stay behind the sewing machine to make your money, right? If you're able to make $100 an hour doing that, whereas you can pay somebody $10 an hour to go grab that product, or $15 an hour, whatever it is, pay somebody to go do that, right? Well, you can focus in on doing what you do best to make your money. Now, instead of making $100 an hour, you're making $85 an hour, right? But regardless, that multiplies so much more so, so that's the importance of delegation, finding the right partners. Lastly, I want to get into is some action steps and what you should do this week, right? So I'm going to give you a little list here. So take some notes, write this down. But at first, I just want you to define your brand story, right? Write 3 sentences or a paragraph or something. Define your brand story, the storytelling that you're going to share through your brand to your audience, to the target consumers that you want. Write that down. Next, write down your target customers, right? Those 5 faces, those 5 avatars that you want to be able to build your brand around. These 5 people would be the perfect people that were rocking my brand, right? Whether it's MMA fighters and Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, or whether it's tennis players or golfers or football players or NBA, right? Whatever it is, find those 5 avatars, right? And see what those avatars are really into, what they look like, what they wear, what they eat, consume yourself with them and figure out how you can build an ecosystem that is marketed and catered to those 5 direct avatars. Next, go ahead and start just doing outreach, right? Once you've kind of started your brand, once you've kind of figured some things out, or maybe you need to find the right graphic designer, or find the right tech packer, or find the right website builder, begin the outreach process. Start DMing people. DM 3 to 5 people every day. That's super low numbers. There's days when we were first starting Limitless where literally Steve, Brett, and I were all DMing hundreds of people a day, right? Finding the right partners, finding the right customers, we're doing outreach at a massive level. Not only were we DMing people, but we were emailing people, we were cold calling people, right? All of that sort of stuff. So focus on that. Find the right partners and find the right customers, and then commit to doing the posting schedule, right? Make 3 posts a week, or at least 1 post a week. But that's really just the tip of the iceberg. That's just to get your feet wet. That's just to get you comfortable with posting. Once you can start doing that, ramp it up. Start doing 3 a week. Start doing 2 a day. Start doing 3 a day, right? The power's in the numbers, and at first it's going to feel extremely low. But the more content that you have out there, the second that you actually have that virality moment, right, that everybody always wants to chase and everybody always wants to get, If you've got content that people can just absorb themselves with and consume repeatedly, right, on all different mediums, on all different platforms, on everything like that, that's really where you're going to be able to begin creating your impact, right? And if you're launching soon, make a marketing plan. Begin looking at those inspirational brands and figure out how you can make a marketing plan that replicates kind of what they've done to prove the success. Eventually you're going to want to be one of those inspirational brands, but when you're first getting started, look at those inspirational brands, the brands that inspire you and your brand, and repeat what they've done to give you that proven level of success. So some final thoughts on all of this. Don't chase viral moments, chase longevity. It takes years and years to build a real brand. Think about how you're going to at least sell your product, not just make your product, and focus on not only being an artist, but being a business as well. I hope that you guys learned something from this. You got something out of that. You got something valuable out of this. Feel free to DM me with any questions. All my socials are always down below. And again, this is Miller McCoy with the Closet Cast behind the brand Limitless Minds. Whatever the name of this thing is, I just enjoy getting on here and sharing my thoughts and getting to talk to you guys. And I'll see you next week.